Why do you want to kill me?
I don't want to kill you. What would I do without you? Welcome to 5 Points of Articulation, where I review action figures and then articulate 5 points to help you decide if you want to add that figure to your collection. The 5 points I discuss are packaging, presentation, posability, playability, and price. I'm Jason, and if you enjoy my content, please like, share, subscribe, do all the YouTube rigmarole. Today we're taking a look at the DC Multiverse Gold Label Dark Knight Trilogy Interrogation Room Joker. Starting off with the packaging, and the packaging is honestly one of the main reasons to talk about this set. You know, because it's a gold label. No, it's what's inside that counts. But first things first, here we have our logo and name. On the side we see this is the Joker Interrogation Room from the Dark Knight, and we get that Dark Knight Trilogy logo up top. Looking at the bottom, you get a sense for just how deep this box actually is. Same when you look at the top. On the back is some poster art for the Joker. Cracking it open, we can see the Joker sitting at the desk. We can also see McFarlane did not glue the trading card and figure stand to the inside of the box. That's because after years and multiple videos of begging, they finally turned the insert tray into a diorama. We're going to talk about this more during playability, but for now let me just say how happy this makes me. So happy that for packaging I'm giving Interrogation Room Joker 1.5 points. Moving on to presentation, and Joker stands at 7.25 inches. As you'd expect, there's a lot of reuse, but not as much as you might think. The head and hair are reuse, the lower torso, legs, and feet are reuse. But while you might think that the new figure just has new arms with the coat removed, that's not entirely the case. The arms most definitely are new, and we'll be talking about them more in a minute, but the original Heath Ledger Joker figure didn't have a complete torso, just a front. Now he's been given a back, and just like the original release, it's been cast in a rubbery plastic to accommodate the articulation. Unfortunately, when you watch the interrogation room scene, it's very clear that the back of the vest should be blue instead of green. Similar to how the lining of Joker's coat should be red. Joker didn't have his gloves in the interrogation room scene, so the hands are new as well. This brings us back to the arms and to my very mixed feelings. One of my bigger notes for the original release were the lack of details for the shirt and tie. Here, the hexagonal pattern of Joker's shirt was sculpted into the new arms, but they didn't do anything to change the shirt here. So while this is technically more screen accurate, to my eye this now draws even more attention to itself. I really wish that they would have either continued that sculpt here or just left this off entirely. This brings us to the other area where I'm a little bit conflicted, the head. As previously stated, the sculpt is the same, which is fine, it's a good sculpt, and while the makeup is messier like it should be in that scene, it also looks kinda clean if that makes sense. Like, I'm pretty sure this was just tampoed on. For a mass-produced toy, I totally get it, but I also think that there's a great opportunity here for a clever customizer to go in and hand paint this and that it would look really good. While they're at it, they could actually paint all these hexagons, and if they were able to paint this part of the shirt and tie, it would probably all blend together really well. To McFarlane's credit though, they did go in and make the hands dirty. I also like how the sleeves are mismatched. In general, there's a lot to love here, but between the shirt and the vest and a few paint job missed opportunities, for presentation I'm giving Interrogation Room Joker 0.5 point. Moving on to posability, and thanks to the lack of code, this one has a bit more range than the original. You can only look up this far because of his signature kelp-like hair, but you can look this far down, great crazy person tilt, and all the way around. Moving down, the arms get about 90 degrees, no rotator cuff this time, but Joker does have bicep swivel, perfectly bent double jointed elbows, and McFarlane wrist balls at swivel and hinge. Moving to the middle, and as you can see, we're working pretty much with just a dumbbell joint. Joker can arch back this far, which is really good, and he can hunch forward this far, which is frankly better than what they can usually get with a diaphragm joint. He also gets a great amount of tilt and twist. Below the gold chain, and Joker has a typical McFarlane hips. They can kick this high and do a perfect split. Pretty good amount of twist. And then moving down, he has double jointed knees, toe articulation, and McFarlane ankle balls that are a bit hindered by the cuff. But they can hinge and do still have a little bit of pivot. This is the 5th time McFarlane has used this body in a single year, and if there's one thing I will say over and over and over again, it's very well articulated. For posability, I'm giving this Joker 1 whole point. Moving on to playability, and Joker comes with a trading card and a figure stand. Because it came packed in the blistered tray instead of being glued in place, it's going to be a little bit warped, like me. But putting it in a collector's sleeve or just weighing it down with some books for a while should fix that. If you happen to need a refresher, picture, here's what it says on the back. Joker also comes with no less than 6 additional hands. Again, he comes preloaded with fists, but he also has surrender hands, gesture hands, and accessory holding hands. If you have a McFarlane Toys munitions pack, of course you could use some of the guns that came with it, but you can also use the hands for this cell phone he comes with. I just want my phone call. I gotta say, in the battle between DC Multiverse and Marvel Legends for additional hands, Todd has really won me over. You can't see it in the box because his hands are behind his back, but Joker also comes with a pair of handcuffs. To put those on, just pop the hands off, slide them over the wrists, and reattach the hands. I will say the chain's a bit big for a pair of handcuffs. Is either Joker or my pet monster. Of course, the main attraction is the Interrogation Room playset. This includes a table and chairs. They've been cast in silver and are a solid piece. A little bit of a blemish on this one. Because they are solid, they don't really hold up to close scrutiny from the back. The table is also silver. It's been cast in 2 pieces, meaning that there's an unfortunate seam line running down the middle. Honestly though, that's not the end of the world. Of course, the star of the set has got to be the Interrogation Room backdrop. Starting with what I love, the printed detail. Even though it's just 4 flat sides, there is a certain level of 3-dimensionality to this. This is thanks to the great detail and shading, and I love all the grime around the floor. And speaking of the floor, that's been printed to look like concrete and is very lifelike. If you're curious, it's 8 3/4 inches high, 7 1/4 inches deep, and 15 inches wide. Much as I love it, I have to admit that filming around the glare is a bit of a challenge, but I suppose no more of a challenge than if they were actual windows. For figure photography purposes, shooting around your reflection is going to be a bit tricky. Again though, same with a real window. My only real qualm is that they have windows on all 3 sides. In the movie, there was actually a door at either end of the room, which, come to think of it, when Batman jammed that chair under the one door, why didn't they just go in through the other one? But playability is more than just poking holes in an otherwise perfect movie scene. It's also about how well your figure and playset plays with others. For the other 2 Dark Knight Jokers we've looked at before, and here's the regular version of the Bank Robber, here are the single issue and 6-pack versions of Bale, and for the rest of the Dark Knight Trilogy set so far, here we have Two-Face and Bane, and Scarecrow. For a couple of video game Joker options, and here's Arkham Asylum and Mortal Kombat 11, and then for a couple of comic versions, and here's the 3 Jokers Clown and the 3 Jokers Comedian. For a couple of black and gray comic Batman, and here's Rebirth and 3 Jokers, and then for a couple of comic blue and gray Batman, and here's Nightfall and Hush. Lastly, for a couple of video game versions, and here we have Arkham City and Arkham Knight. As long as you can fit this guy with his gigantic ears, you should really have no problem with any other 7-inch scale Batman. What I'm even more excited by are all the possibilities with the table and chairs. In terms of characters with capes, obviously a soft goods one is going to be better. That way it can drape nicely behind them. Depending on the cape though, that doesn't necessarily have to be the case. If it's pliant enough, a lot of plastic capes could definitely work. It's not an S. So then, moving down the line in size to see how small we can go, and here we have Hollywood elite John Cena. Nothing to see here. For another Mattel figure, and here's the Amber Collection, Dr. Ian Malcolm from Jurassic Park. And now you're selling. You're selling. Shifting over to Hasbro, and here's the 40th anniversary Black Series Darth Vader. We would be honored if you joined us for dinner. Moving to Marvel Legends, and just as a general example, here we have Captain America. So, you got the tension. Shrinking down a bit, and here's Indiana Jones. What am I being accused of exactly, except for surviving a nuclear blast? I'm sorry, did you say nuclear? Also, if you're looking for a high-quality crystal skull, can I interest you in some vodka? For a relative scale comparison, here's Pizza Spidey and the Spectacular Spider-Man. And as always, here's Stealth Iron Man getting that bag. Between all the different hand options and the versatility of the table and chairs, and just this backdrop in general, this set is no joke. For playability, I'm giving Interrogation Room Joker 1.5 points. This leaves us with nothing left to discuss but the price. The Joker Interrogation Room set was a McFarlane Toy Store exclusive and retailed for $39.99, but is sadly now sold out. Ta-da!
It's gone.
The good news is that if you missed out, there is a bundle you could pre-order with this, Jim Gordon as Batman, and Batman as a Knight for $68. It's definitely a lot for 2 additional figures you might not want, but it's also better than what it's going for on eBay. As incredibly well priced as this set was, if you can't get a hold of it, that doesn't really matter. Even so, I'd be a liar if I said that this set didn't put a smile on my face. Factoring in availability and bonus points for price, I'm giving Interrogation Room Joker 0.5 point for a still spectacular 5 out of 5. Would you like to see McFarlane do more diorama sets like this? And if so, what do you hope they do next? Sound off in the comments below. If you like this video, check out one of these. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back again real soon, but until then, play nice and have fun.